Welcome back to the 13th Destiny podcast with Magnum and my guest, Rick Ryman. And we'll pick up right where we left off, talking about our connections and everything in the entertainment business. And so back to where we were at before we kind of got cut off. I'll be honest, we actually kind of got cut off. It's a long story. Hey, guys, I'm new to this too. This is a new aspect. So just have fun with it. We're having fun with it. It was kind of funny in a way.
It was like, whoa, what happened?
yeah. All the equipment just went like dead all of a sudden, and it's
we got this multi-million-dollar equipment. And all we needed was 2 batteries.
Multi-million-dollar equipment. Man, don't be putting that out there. That's gonna be like my net worth thing that they keep. Have you ever seen? Hey, speaking of crazy things in this business, have you ever seen this website, Celebrity Net Worth?
No.
It is the stupidest thing I have ever seen in my life. They've had me as high as $20 million on my net worth, and I'm sitting here going, well, gee, if I'm $20 million, I should have left jobs a long time ago.
Am I on that list?
I don't know. I'll have to look. But it's the darndest thing. I'm like, you have me on this list, and you'll get me up to $20 million, and then the next week you got me down to $100,000. I'm like, man, I must be the biggest gambler in the world. But anyway, back to what we were talking about, our connections and stuff, and like where I met Rick through Alex, and again, didn't date Alex. Make that clear. Went out to dinner with her a couple times. But we were talking about shop at home where she had taken me to and all that, and definitely had. It was interesting because, and the irony of that was, speaking of that home shopping network I was working with, I had started working with them already when I ended up being a guest at this place, and I was like, I had no clue we were going there. She said, we're going to the studio, is what she said to me, right? Mm-hmm. So I said, okay, we're going to the studio, we're going to meet some people. She was slick. She did not tell me who we were meeting. She did not tell me where we were going until we get there. And I look, and here I was working for this particular place at the time in Kentucky. And I'm like, I get out of the vehicle and I go, we're going here to their studio? I'm going. And I will tell you my comment to her. I'm like, well, sure hope where I work for I don't find out, because I think we compete. But I think since I'm on a different thing, I don't think it'll be a big deal. But it was just funny at the time, because that was, like I said, it was shortly before I met you, and I was just like, how do I get myself in these situations?
So you met her basically around the same time that I met her.
Yeah, basically around the same time. Yeah, she had, I guess, I'm trying to think. We'd been in the business since 2004 as far as that side of the business, doing the photography, the filming, and the model management stuff, which all my people are independent contractors. Let me make that clear. I'm an independent contractor, and so are they. So I just want to make that clear. But IRS knows it. So go figure on that one. They're like, they're not employees of his. But anyway, so it's just funny how that works. But anyway, we met around the same time, yeah. And I remember going down to Hendersonville and meeting with her, and going out to eat and stuff and everything, and and Alex is a very interesting character. Yes, very interesting. But no matter what she says, you can sit there and listen to her all day long. It's just like, okay. It's just like, okay, wow, Alex, that's pretty cool. But yeah, she's a sweetheart, and it's just weird how we ended up meeting, because I mean, really and truly, she was like kind of wanting to work with me doing some stuff, and then she brought you up out of the blue, and I was like, well, yeah, I can do that. I got no problem, yeah. And then I met you, and we went and shot some photographs and stuff, and I had no clue that, you'd end up doing a music video with my models, or they'd end up in the film. None of this. I mean, back when we first met, even though I had some successes in the business at that time, I was like, I still, in the back of my brain, kept thinking, is this real? And I would have later on, like, we met, and obviously you knew that I had a background. I knew you had some background. I knew Alex had some background at that time. But it's one of those things, it's like in this business, you're just like, wow, are we really doing this? Mm-hmm. And I've had that happen, and I'm sure you have too. It's like you've probably done some venues, and it's like, oh, well, that's where, like the Willie Nelson thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, am I really doing this? Am I really opening for Willie Nelson? And you are. But I think anyone who has other successes outside of what you have personally, I think it gets to those situations where, like, am I really working with this person? It's like,
Right.
And not try. And going back to what I was saying about don't act like a fan when you're working with them, but at the same time, in the back of your head, when someone's as big as they are, like you said, Willie Nelson. I mean, this was a very big guy that you opened for. I mean, you have to have that thought process of, wow, I'm here, and I'm actually doing this, and it's been a pretty wild ride for me. I will tell you.
Well, I'm sure you met a lot of interesting people through.
Oh my
through the
goodness!
years.
Are you kidding me? Do you know how many interesting people I have met? And that's the thing. I stayed working a regular job for years, and sometimes 2 and 3 jobs, and I still did this business. I still took care of my dad when he was dying. I still took care of my mom when she was dying. And I stayed in this business. Very few people could have just done one thing, let alone all the things that I was doing. And I'm not trying to blow my own self up
Right.
here. It's just the principle of the matter. People who you worked with in a regular business literally sometimes didn't believe I was doing what I was doing. Even if there was evidence out there to show them, they'd be like, now, not as much so much in the last few years. In the last few years, it was different. Things were totally different. Up till the pandemic, of course, which screwed all of us.
Yes.
I mean, we all had to take a step back over that mess. But it's like, it's hard to get some people to realize that you really are working in this business. And I'm sure it's the same thing with you. Like when you try to get a new gig or something, it's like, well, what do you got out there? And even if you show them something, it's like, okay. And the ones I won't say I don't like them so much, but the ones that really get me are like, well, what else do you have? I'm like, on my particular one, I got Google pages and everything out the wall, and you're asking me what else I've got.
Well, one of the things I'm running into these days, as far as the music side goes, is where's your video?
Right.
We can't find you on Google TV or YouTube or whatever. I go,
Yeah.
Well, I don't have a video. Well, how do we find out about you? I go, I got a website. What happened to listen to my recordings? And I would ask that question. And nobody's been able to answer me yet. What can you find on a video that you can't hear on my audio?
I'll tell you what it is.
Tell me.
I can tell you what it is.
Tell
It's
me.
because they are so entrenched on YouTube and the TV stuff of YouTube and the Google Connects and all. The thing is, it's the generational thing. Now, some people are older too, but the younger the person is, even more so. And I'm not talking young 18, 19. I'm talking even into their late 20s, 30s have gotten to this point of it's like, well, if you don't have some kind of YouTube channel or if you don't have TikTok or you don't have this, like, well, we don't know anything about you. And, oh, you have a website. Oh, well, that's like, okay, well, that's nice, but that's so old. I've run into the same problem. So I know what's going on. It's just like the podcast. I had someone tell me, say, well, yeah, we'll listen to the podcast, because we're cool with podcasts, but we also would like to be able to go to YouTube and, oh, yeah, because you want to go to YouTube because it's free. That's another thing. It's another thing because it's free on the YouTube channel. I mean, some may be monetized or whatever, but like you can also listen to me on Spotify and some other places. And yes, you can free, but we also have a place where you can donate and stuff like that. It's just this whole concept of, well, if you're not here and you're only over here, it's like, really? Are you seriously telling me? And so that's where that is what you're running into, because I've run into it on a minor thing because I already had a YouTube channel, so it's not like a real big deal because I can go over to and use the YouTube channel. But absolutely, that is what it is. And they want to see you performing the song on a YouTube channel that they can just over here pop on their phone. And a lot of it is pop on your phone because it's not necessarily the computer anymore. It's and like I said, the younger they are, and I'm talking up to like in the 30s, back to 18. They're literally it's a phone thing. They're on the phone constantly. I mean, you know how hard it is to keep someone off their phone in a business these days. I mean,
everybody's on their phone in the restaurant,
Yeah, I'm like, so you tell your employees like, don't be on the phone and everything. You walk out, especially a restaurant. Yeah, you walk out and it's like, I'm serving like hundreds of people out here and they're on their phone. Like, really? Well, I don't know if they're serving hundreds of people in any place right now, but except maybe the drive-thru a few places.
I seen this guy and this girl. They were out on I know, and they were obviously out on a date, and I just saw them, and both of them are just sitting next to each other. Both of them on their phones, and it's like I go, I hope that's not their first date.
Oh God. Let me tell you something. Not that we were going to talk about personal relationships or anything, but if I were them one right now, and you're going to sit next to me, and you're going to be on your phone, I'm going to be on my phone, and it's the first date. Well, it's probably the last date.
Yeah, exactly.
To be honest
That's
with
what
you.
I was thinking.
Unless we were both in agreement, then we were posting something. But like I said, I don't really post personal relationships on Facebook anymore. I learned that the hard way after having one for 5 years, and it's like they knew everything we were doing, and some things that apparently I didn't know we were doing. I was like, I always love it when I was like, well, you guys were going. I was like, what? I don't remember posting anything about that. Well, yeah, well, your girlfriend did. I was like, geez.
Yeah.
I was like, what? So we run into that. But business-wise, we love it for business. I mean, it's great for business. I mean, but yeah. And I think maybe we've matured to a level of we realize that, using in personal relationships is just like a bad idea. Bad.
Yeah.
I mean, this whole thing about Facebook official, relationship, I'm like, well, you guys better learn the hard way, I guess, too, because once you go out there, you got everybody in the book. You got girls coming after the guy. You got, the other way around, and sometimes both. Yeah, I'll be honest. I've been approached over the years by both. So, no offense to anybody. I'm just saying I have been approached by both. I know. By the way, I think I just told people something that nobody knew about until just now.
I didn't know.
Oh yeah, it's like I was at a thing doing something with my models and stuff, and now I'm there with nothing but women, right? And again, no offense to whatever you want to do, that's your business. But this guy, you had to know with that many women. I was thinking that you had to know that I was pretty like. And he just walks up to me and he's just like out of left field and he goes, "Hey, how you doing today? Can I buy you a drink?" And I knew right then and there, I was like, "Wow, you're way in over your head right about now, aren't you?" And again, it was a friendly. He was cool, and so it didn't go down bad. But it was just kind of like I was kind of thrown at first. I was like, "Gee, usually my girls get asked for drinks or buy them drinks, not me." And I was like, "Well, that was a new experience." But yeah, so yeah. Anyway. So what else are you looking to do here in the near future with your music? I don't know if we want to call it. Oh, I hit the microphone. Don't you hate when you hit the microphone?
I especially hate it when I hit it with my mouth.
I'm just leaving that in because any more of my interviews are going like that. I'm just like, hey, let's have some fun. Let's just have some fun with it.
I mean, there was a time, where I accidentally pushed it forward and it came back and popped me right in the top lip there, and it's like, yow.
Oh, I had a camera stand do that one time too. One of the ones that like pop up and pop, and and I'm standing too far over, and I hit it with the foot, and whoo, it just got me right under the neck, and I'm like, yeah, y'all gonna have to explain this one how I murdered myself or committed suicide on this shoot.
Stabbed myself in the neck.
Yeah, I always had that too because I don't know about you on your music, but I've always had these things like. I got a lot of friends, that are in law enforcement and stuff. And I go, but God, I have to call them for something stupid. Something goes wrong, and he goes like, oh, geez. Because, that's an all-day thing. Yeah. And no offense to them. I mean, they got to write the reports. But I'm just like, no, don't do anything. We got to be here all day because it just ruins the whole day or weekend or whatever. I actually had one of my people get locked in handcuffs one time on a film shoot.
Really?
Yeah, and I had a deputy jailer with me on the shoot, too, also, who was in the film at the time. And literally, he couldn't even get them open to start. It took us like 20 minutes to get her out of the handcuffs. That's a good story, too, because she was down to her...
was that part of the part?
That's in that same film that you got your video in.
Oh, okay. But it was part of the...
Yeah, it's part of the horror film. And unfortunately, it was kind of like we didn't really want to have to go explain that. I think you know this actress. This one I don't have to talk because I think you know Don Lynn Johnson. You know Don Lynn, don't you?
I don't think so, no.
Really? I was thinking that y'all were on... Maybe not. But anyway, it was so funny. It was like she got locked in the handcuffs, and then we're trying to get the handcuffs off of her, and she's in her bra and panties. And it's just like, holy crap. Okay.
That was intentional. You kept her in the handcuffs intentionally.
You wouldn't be the first one to say that, but she wasn't getting a little like shake because she's on an interview I did with her on YouTube. Speaking of YouTube, that's what brought that up. And she's talking about that, and she said, "Yeah, and the whole thing I was worried about, we were going to have to end up going to the police station to try to get and explain why I'm in handcuffs." And I was like, "Yeah, it was going to be a very interesting explanation." Is all I got to say. But like I said, I had a deputy with me on set who was also in the film, and it's just like, and I'm going, "Your keys are supposed to open anything." He says, "I'm not opening there." I was like, "Oh no!" So we've had some adventures.
I'm sure,
and so have you. That's another thing. I think I'll ask you that before we get off and do some video stuff. What is your most interesting adventure in the bar with the patrons that you've ever had? That's something that's kind of stuff I think my listeners would love to hear.
I'm sure something's happened, but I can't. I'll probably think of it tonight when I start going to bed. It's like, oh, that's what I could have told James.
Oh my God, that's funny.
But I can't think of anything, offhand right now. I mean, no, nothing. I can't think of anything.
I still remember that drunk girl at the Jamboree.
There was a few.
I'm talking about the one that kept coming over to me, and I'm like, I'm trying to work. And that was when Adam was still with me, I believe. Yeah, Adam was still with me at that time, right? Adam.
I can't remember his name, but I know.
Yeah, my original VP, the one that helped me get the company started, and he kept telling me, he said, "You're gonna be in trouble if this girl keeps coming." I was like, "Shut up! I got this under control." But that was kind of, I was like, but we have.
That was a neat place. I like that place. It was a shame it closed.
I know it was a really neat place for everything that it had there and everything, and it is a shame that it closed down because,
his air conditioner unit went out, and he said he wasn't going to buy another one because he didn't think it was worth putting in, investing into the place anymore because nobody was really, packing the place.
Right.
They would come out, but not really packing the place, to where you need to keep the business going.
Yeah. I think he had a certain clientele that went there for certain reasons, and I think that because he wouldn't get rid of the other stuff, and I think you know what I'm talking about, though. Yeah.
I know nothing about it, so.
No, not the illegal stuff. I'm talking about the regular smoking.
Oh! I mean, you did it like you was holding a roach,
I gotta learn how to do my gestures.
This is a cigarette, James.
Okay, sorry about that. Damn it,
This is roach.
And I don't even smoke either one. So
I don't either.
Hey, this is going to be a really good podcast because people come out there like going, "Are you sure you don't?"
What are they drinking? Perrier water.
I'm drinking Perrier water and Zero Monster Energy, and you're drinking Perrier and what else?
I got the body armor.
They're going like, what was spiked in that crap? These two guys sorry about that. But yeah, I think that might have been part of the problem there is because he couldn't expand into, but a lot of people went there because they could smoke still and everything. But I think it also kept a lot of other people out. It was a pretty smoky haze when we were in there that night.
Well, I remember this gentleman I knew. He was building he just built this barn, and he's a tobacco farmer. And he built this big barn, and he made it into a dance hall.
Okay,
he had a really nice bar. He had put a stage in the corner and everything, and. Since he was a tobacco farmer, that's when they first came out with the law that you can't smoke indoors.
Right.
And we kept telling him, say, Murph, you can't. I'm going to allow smoking. He goes, tobacco built this barn, so people are going to come in there. They're going to be able. And I said, well, you can't do. I said, you're going to, a lot of your clientele is going to be older, and they're not going to like it. And I tried to explain to him, I said, there's a place that I used to play at a long time ago that they would have smoke rooms,
right?
Which I thought was a great idea. I said you can either have you got a room over here. I said make that your smoke room where people go in there and smoke, or they can walk outside. Oh no, well he wouldn't go for it, And then I said, well, that's the law. You can't. I said we're not making the rules. I said that's the law. And
you can't fight it once it's made into law. I mean,
but
it's hard to get a
oh.
law taken off.
He was still allowing people to come in there and smoke, and then once the non-smokers came there and saw people in the next table smoking,
Right.
well, they weren't going to come back next week because, well, you're allowed smoking, we're not blah, 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 blah. And